Welcome back to This American Ride podcast, where we talk about issues that affect you, the average American. What's up, and welcome back to the podcast, man. Today we've got a good one. I'm Burt. You know what? I'm leaving it in. I'm George. This is Burt. And sometimes that stuff happens.
Not to mention, take two. Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
Oh, my God. What's even funny is people don't know is we started recording this podcast, and we didn't actually start recording this podcast. We just started talking to microphones with headphones
Yeah,
on.
we were probably 15 minutes in. Solid 15, just grooving along. Oh, boy.
Holy cow,
Yeah,
man.
that's Burt. I'm George.
There you go.
Boy, what a day.
There we go. So we are here talking today about dreams, aspirations, bucket lists.
Bucket list, yeah.
That's the topic.
So what's a bucket list?
Well, to me, I feel like I'm saying this for the second time. A bucket list is stuff that, you want to do, before you leave this earth, before you pass away. A list of just things. Could be anything. Mm-hmm. Mine kind of have a theme, but it could be anything.
Yeah.
So what's the official definition?
Well, I don't know what the official is, but when you just Google it, it's like a list of achievements or experiences that you wish to accomplish in your lifetime. I think most people know that. I think most people, whether they've subconsciously or actually went and wrote it down, like most people have something in their brain somewhere that they would like to do.
I feel like the biggest problem with things like this is people wait too long in life to do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of times you don't think about it as a young person. I think you don't realize as a young person your time here is limited. You know,
right? You're gonna live forever.
And it feels like you got forever. Yeah. So.
And I feel like as Americans, we work too much and we have too many other things that we're doing to take a step back and experience these things. Yeah. And if you look at us versus the Europeans, I feel like that is a very different way of living, a big lifestyle change.
Very valid. They don't work as much, and I think they go on holiday a lot more and enjoy life a little more, it seems like.
Yeah. So
I don't know that for a fact, but it just seems that way.
It seems that way. But yeah, so I've got a list.
I have a list too.
We did
not compare lists. We did not even, when you brought the topic up, we didn't even say, all right, come up with 5, come up with 10, whatever. You said you wanted to do it. I was like, sounds good.
What's the bucket list?
What is the bucket list? So yeah, your topic, we'll let you kick it off, man.
Real quick though, before I start, if you're listening to us on Apple, you're listening to us on Spotify, make sure you give us a rating, leave us a comment. And if you're watching us on YouTube, sit here behind this desk drinking some bourbon. Give us a subscribe and a comment, a little like, and it helps the channel a great deal.
Yeah, and and even if you listen to these things on Spotify or Apple or whatever, in your spare moment, shoot over to YouTube and give us a subscribe on This American Ride, on YouTube, because that definitely helps. So speaking of bourbon, what do we got here?
I'm not a fan.
I know you were like
Valentin. I don't know. Valentin, I don't know necessarily that much about, but peanut butter chocolate, man. I have. I don't expect much from bourbon, but I expect it to have that little bit of alcohol kick. You know what I mean? And this is like drinking. I feel like I could put this on pancakes.
Yeah, it's sweet, man. Like I was saying before on the non-recorded podcast, it's like it's the gateway bourbon whiskey for the non-whiskey drinkers. You suck them in with the sweet, yummy tasting alcohol, and then you get them later with the real stuff. But yeah, it's definitely sweet, and I don't mind it because it I like chocolate and I like sweet, stuff like that. But it definitely. It definitely could be dangerous because it doesn't feel like you're drinking bourbon. It's
no. What proof is this? Is this
60,
60 proof?
Yeah, it's only 60. Which isn't crazy. But again, I don't mind the sweetness, so I could probably get a good way through this.
Which is ironic because you're not a dessert guy.
No, but I am a chocolate guy.
Okay.
Like honestly, if you said pick your dessert, I would pick like a Hershey's chocolate bar.
It would be Hershey's.
Yeah.
Nothing I love more than a Hershey's chocolate bar and a bowl of peanut butter. That's
I mean, again, why you would think this combination would work, because it's like one of the best combinations on the planet. So anyway, enough about what we're drinking. We're talking bucket lists. You have a list. I have a list. We have bucket lists.
We have not seen each other's list.
Kick us off. I do know what your first one is, though.
Yeah. So obviously.
So tell us again.
So first one is to visit all 50 states. Man, it's a beautiful country that we live in. If you follow our other channel, or you know anything about what my life has been like for the past year with this job, I have the opportunity to check a lot of these states off of my list. Sometimes we have a layover day, we can do some cool stuff, but for the most part, I don't really get to enjoy them. I see the airport. I get to hit a couple of restaurants and whatever Marriott is in town. So
yeah, can you really check it off if all you did was go to the airport?
Yeah, listen, I'm there. It is what it is. I've been to Dallas. Like I figured out the other day, I think I've been to Dallas 20 times, and I've never left the airport. But it's Charlotte too. I've been to Charlotte. I couldn't tell you how many times. Never left
Charlotte is the famous East Coast layover.
The hub of Charlotte and Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I want to hit all 50 states, and I think every state has, really something cool, something unique about it, something to see, whether it's like the Arch in St. Louis or, the Golden Gate Bridge or, what have you. I think all states have, something that is part of our national heritage, and I want to see that stuff. And I mean, obviously, like Jackson Hole, Wyoming. We've been to Wyoming. I could check Wyoming off the list because we were just over the border for a little bit of a motorcycle ride in 2020. But I want to do some fly fishing in Jackson Hole, and I want to hit up Alaska, do like that little cruise and land kind of combination. Maybe have a beer in Dutch Harbor. Being I've seen so many episodes of Deadliest Catch, but yeah, it's a thing. And we know a couple people who did Alaska recently.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We have friends that have done Alaska a cruise, like you were just saying, you know, partially on the cruise, partially on land. We have Joel and Janice, friends of ours. And then from our motorcycle world, Mr. Amsel Adam took a little vacation after the busy rally season and went up there. And he said he loved it. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and our buddy Dave Slackwell, he was stationed up there to finish out his Air Force career, and he loved it up there.
Yeah, he did. He says he wants. Well, I don't think he wants to go back to live, but he wants to go back.
And he's a cold weather dude too. I don't understand those people.
Yeah, strange. I don't get it.
So yeah, all 50 states, man. That's
I got a bunch. I got a bunch out in the that Midwestern, like Colorado, Utah, Arizona, like all those. I haven't been out there. Oh, I actually have been past there, so I mean I haven't been all the way out from there to like California. Yeah,
Stacy and I spent a week in Utah, and I will tell you, I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, you raved about it.
It was definitely one of my favorite spots in the country.
I know some of the folks I follow, podcasts and stuff, they're out in that area, and they love it. They love it. So, yeah, definitely would love to get out there too. It's a good first one, bucket list.
So where you at? Number one.
Yeah, so like you started to say, I want to visit all, and I was like, oh, this mofo stole mine. But no. So I want to visit all of the U.S. national parks. Carolyn and I love going to the national parks. It's something we bought the big old book, so you get your they call it a passport stamp. So there's a national parks passport stamp a book if you didn't know that. And they have different sizes and stuff. If you're super into it, you get this big, giant, thick one, which we just recently bought, and then there's just a little small one. But yeah, there's and again, there are 423 in the national park, service, but only 63 of them are considered national parks that have national park in the name. The other ones are like monuments and historic sites and the seashores and stuff like that. So there's at least 60. I mean, I would love to hit them all, but that's like a lot. That's 423 is. I mean, I probably don't have enough time on this planet to do that.
That sounds like a bucket list.
But I mean, that's a mega bucket list. But the 63, the actual national parks, I would love to. And we all, you know what they all are. Yellowstone, which we already did. We got to hit that back in like 2011 when we did a family trip out there. Amazing. You need more time. We were only in there for like a day and a half. You need a lot more than that to like see this vast amount of area at every one of these parks. You got Glacier, you got Yosemite, you got Acadia. There's a bunch of other ones, the big ones. But yeah, there's so much there to see. Just the beauty of the country, the outdoors out there, and in the West, all those mountain ranges, and it's just amazing sights to see. Can you imagine you being someone that likes to take pictures? Can you imagine the pictures you get out there?
Oh man,
yeah, unbelievable. So it's something that I don't think all of the world has something like this, where they preserve this land and it's for the people to go and enjoy. And I just want to be able to take advantage of it and hopefully hit all 63, if not more, before I kick the bucket.
Truth be told, two of the greatest pictures that are in my portfolio were taken in Zion National Park.
Zion.
And one was taken on the west side of the park. And if you know more about Zion, Zion has a west side and an east side of this park with completely different style terrain. And it was taken with an iPhone. And the other one, Stacy.
Did you doctor it?
Oh, yeah, doctored it. And the other one, Stacy took. She hopped out of the car and she stood up on this rock wall fence and took a picture down into the valley of the entire valley of the west side of Zion, and just got the road that was winding through. It's this hairpin road that winds down to the bottom of the valley to the riverbed, and it's a good shot.
Yeah.
So
if you're listening and that's like something you like and you want to do, or you do go to national parks, just do us a favor. Don't be one of them knuckleheads that jumps out of your car and chases down a grizzly bear to get a good photo, or
don't pet the fluffy cows.
Go to pet the fluffy cow and get your pants ripped off and helivac out of there. And just be smart. It's the wildlife. It's not a zoo. Just remember that.
Yeah, it is. Those animals are wild, and it's a great thing our country did to preserve that area, and to reestablish the bison population and the grizzly population.
Wolves,
and,
they did too. The wolves, that population was dying too, and they got that back.
Yeah, so it's very cool. So, yeah. But it's the outdoors, and it's wild out there. So it's like Burt said, it's not a zoo.
All right, what else you got?
All right, the next one. This is kind of like a crossover, kind of baggers, kind of This American Ride one, and that is to cross the country on a Harley Davidson.
Okay.
And that would obviously, without saying, taking Route 66, riding the PCH, hitting some of those iconic spots, and taking my time crossing the country. Don't do it when we're on a rally crunch or an event crunch where we're cranking out 500 to 900 miles a day, depending on the traffic and weather and where we've got to be. It would be awesome to do it. It'd be awesome to do it 2-up, with Stacy. But I feel like it's one of those things that obviously we're in the motorcycle community. We know quite a few people who've gone transcontinental on a bike, but there's more people have not than have, actually. I feel like it's, not one of those things. I know a handful of people who have, but I think a lot of people, and the average motorcycle rider, I think, never does.
No. I think the average motorcycle rider doesn't get to very many states other than their own.
How many counties other than their own, some of these guys?
Realistically, not, knocking anybody. It's just facts,
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what? Since you brought that up, that part of that's on my list, so I might as well, while we're talking about it, just throw that out there. So doing Route 66 and the PCH, kind of a loop there, and knocking those out was one of mine.
Yeah.
Hitting that, and I know Route 66. People that have done it. I know my in-laws have done it in a car. It's obviously not what it was, but it still has some really cool roadside, basically relics at this point of an awesome era when that road was hopping, and it was the way to go to get, from that Midwest out to California.
Yeah.
And it just had so many motels and just different roadside attractions to entertain people because it was just hopping. It was booming. It was crazy travel. That was the road. That was the way to get there. So a lot of that stuff, I mean, there's still, like I said, there's still like some semblance of those roadside attractions. And I would just love to go and just get those cool pictures with them, selfies and whatnot.
Yeah. It's like our Route 1 out east, right? I mean, people used to take like Route 1 or Route 9 when they were like going down south, like down the East Coast. And now obviously it's 95. But the East Coast is still populated. Route 1 is obviously not what it was, but it's not as sparsely populated as parts of Route 66, which obviously Route 66 is a national treasure. I almost wish in some way they would find a way to make it like a national park.
Yeah.
Like that would be, to me, that would just be amazing and preserve a lot of the stuff because it is
that would be cool.
A huge piece of Americana. It's how people vacationed. It's like when, before the interstate system, got huge and, all these veterans are coming back from World War II and the camping craze and the small towable craze was starting to go on when the national parks were starting to develop their camping sites and all that. Route 66 was how people traveled.
Yeah. And that PCH, man, that's just, I mean, being in that motorcycle YouTube world and getting to see so many of people that we know's videos and stuff from doing the PCH on the bike, it's just wow, man. Like just the views that you see and the cool little places to stop and have a bite and a beer and it just looks amazing. Like
it does.
It's crazy.
It does, and I've done a good portion. Not a good portion. I've done a portion of it from L.A. up into Oxnard, which was it's just only a small fraction of it, but still a nice ride. And that was in a car. The other cool road out there, like, and not to get too like tangent on the PCH, but there's a road called in the Malibu Canyon, and the Malibu Canyon Road is also very, very cool. I happened to like rent a sports car when I was out there for work because I could, and drove the Malibu Canyon pretty aggressively. It's a lot of fun. It wasn't on a bike then, but it would be great to do on a bike.
Crazy to think how jacked up California's politics are. They have some seriously awesome geographical features. They have some amazing stuff in California.
Perfect weather.
I mean, going up north and just they have I believe 9 of the national parks in California, and some of the big ones, and just some beautiful scenery up north there, and then that whole coast, the whole Pacific coast. And I've never been, so going to the Pacific coast, and not like seeing the ocean would be that amazing, but seeing that ocean, we're so, we're here with the Atlantic, and it's part of our lives, and we see it all the time, but just seeing a different one on the opposite side of the country would be pretty sick.
It is pretty sick, and to see the redwoods, to see the Golden Gate, and to see Alcatraz or the seals, down on the pier, are all like cool things. But the redwood, walking through the redwoods is I mean, talk about giants. You can't understand
until you
get there. So yeah, that's a big one. All right, so that was one for the both of us.
Yeah, it's back to you.
This next one, hold on to your seat.
Oh no!
Literally, that's my segue. I've never flown in a helicopter. Yeah.
That's what you want to do? You want to fly in a helicopter?
Yeah, I've never been in a helicopter.
Those things just fall out of the sky like bird droppings.
No, and I'm telling you, and if you've lived near New York or you live near New York, they wind up in the East River a lot more than people think. But yeah, I want to do the helicopter thing. it scares the death out of me because I got height issues. I do fly all the time.
I wasn't even thinking about that. Like,
yeah,
what?
I do. I fly all the time, and whatever.
Flying's different. I mean, just close the window, don't look. You don't even know. But a helicopter, you don't not know.
Yeah, I want to do the helicopter.
Just the way that it takes off and just going up.
I've never been in one. Yeah.
Helicopter.
Yeah.
All right, Kobe.
Yeah, I want. If for nothing else, I want to get some cool pictures from a helicopter. I think they're really neat to photograph from. Yeah, I think it would be cool. I think it would be cool.
My list doesn't have very many thrill-seeking things on it. Like
that's thrill in my world. The helicopter's thrill-seeking, man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is, and like skydiving or scuba diving, the Great Barrier Reef. Like, I have no desire to do either of those kind of things. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I won't even go sit here and fake it and say
the ocean is just it's a scary place.
Not my environment.
And flying's just not natural. So.
Listen, chubby dudes are no more graceful underwater than they are on land.
Right. And just now you're in a wetsuit that accents all your horrible features. There's something about skydiving. I think I could do it. It's not a bucket list item of mine, but I think like if I did it, I would probably enjoy it. But I would be scared. I'm not a huge like afraid of heights. Like I don't love heights. They don't like completely not bother me, but I'm not like terrified of them. Mm-hmm. I think that would be pretty awesome, but I could live without it too.
You're gonna have to throw me out the plane. You'd have to throw me out of the goddamn plane.
Yeah,
there's just no way. There's no way.
Yeah. All right. So another one of mine. I would like to visit the Swiss Alps.
Oh, well, that's not on my list. That's a good one.
The Switzerland, Austria. Mm-hmm. Mountain region there. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing looking. Obviously, I've seen nothing but TV, movies, and photos. But man, how cool that looks! Like, have you ever seen a photo of it that didn't just look amazing, like a fairy tale kind of thing?
No.
And then that whole thing where you get that old school like what German little towns look like and stuff. I don't know what you call that style, but
like Bavarian.
Yeah, Bavarian. Towns, the Bavarian looking buildings and stuff like that. But just the sightseeing in a place like that it's just crazy. It's just off the charts.
Summer or winter?
I mean, probably summer. I don't necessarily want to freeze my sack off.
Two different beauties of that area.
I mean, snow's not beautiful to me, so I'll go with summer. I mean, I wouldn't if I had an opportunity to go see it in the winter. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but if I had to pick the two, I want to go when it's nice weather. Not blizzarding or whatever it does up there. I don't even know that much about it. It's not like I've done a lot of research on it, but it looks amazing. I know there's some historic hotels up there on top of the mountains there that a lot of people go and want to stay at and just have just the most amazing scenery from your hotel or from from the hotel and sit out there and have a cup of coffee and just have that backdrop. Man, how cool. Plus just how old it is and the towns there and the history, like pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. I think of Switzerland. I think of banks, watches, and chocolate, not necessarily in that order.
Yeah. Yeah, I was doing a little bit just for this sake, and there's a hotel like the Foulhorn or something like that. It's called, and it's like supposedly like really historic, and it's like at the very top of one of the ranges there, in that area, and it's just I could imagine like, and it's funny because I still looked at the hotel and the rooms, and it's like not what us as Americans would be excited about for a hotel room. Wow! But I can imagine the views, man. The views.
I wonder
that's
how
what
much
you go
was.
for.
How many euros was it?
It wasn't even euros. The symbol for the money, it was 60 something, and it wasn't a euro symbol.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up again, but it wasn't euros.
I don't know what the currency of Switzerland is.
I don't either.
Yeah.
It was like a CK or something. It was like some weird.
It's like the
two letters.
The arrogant thing about Americans. We don't know other currency and we don't speak any other language.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. People I know from Europe, they speak like 5 languages and they're like
That's a whole nother video.
It is. It is.
Arrogance. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that. I don't know. It's
yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's a big one. I've always wanted to do that. I remember, if you watched Band of Brothers, towards the end there, I don't know if it was the last episode or it was either the last one or the second last one. They went up there. Yeah. They were in that area, and it just, I mean, the series portrayed it really cool. Like, it's just amazing looking.
It was neat. They were on those mountain roads, and it was deuce and a half. And
yeah,
they were stationed up there. Yeah, it was pretty. That's where they were playing baseball, I think, at the end before some guys went off to the Pacific.
They went in there and snagged up all of Hitler's money and relics and stuff. Yeah, pretty cool.
Good for those guys. They earned it.
Yeah.
So this next one's gonna be off the cuff. I want to sail, and when I mean sail, I want to race on a 12-meter yacht.
You want to race a yacht?
Yeah. So 12 meters are what people who don't know are the old America's Cup boats.
Okay.
So old America's Cup boats. There's a couple of them that are still in Rhode Island. They race occasionally. I've been on one as come sail the 12-meter with 70 other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the afternoon kind of joy cruise is very different when you're on one of those boats and you're pushing it to the absolute edge. It's a lot of adrenaline in sailboat racing, and I feel like the 12 meters are the iconic standard of what the America's Cup was built to be, and is obviously not now because it's just completely ruined with these trimarans and catamarans. But it, another story. But these are the boats that the Dennis Conner boats and the boats that have defended the Cup for this country that I grew up with, and the generation of people who were into sailing kind of just before me grew up with. And it's they're loud, they creak, they're fast, they're kind of scary.
All I can picture is you playing the role of John Candy in, what was it, Summer Rental? With your pirate friend, and you're racing what was just a seafood restaurant boat. Remember that?
Oh, I remember that.
A good movie. Good old John Candy.
Listen, sports have never been my thing, but I've always wrapped my head around sailing and being on a race course with a sailboat. It's something that not everybody sees. Like when you play football, the game for some people slows down a lot, and for some people the game never slows down at all. And when I'm on a race course in a sailboat, I see things very differently. It's very slow. I can anticipate, not only what people would do, but get people within the rules to do what I want them to do. And it's always something that just came very easy to me. And I've done it for a good portion of my life. Haven't done it in a number of years, but it would be cool.
So what's the biggest boat you've raced?
Biggest boat that I've raced?
Or have you raced any boats?
Oh, yeah. Plenty of times. I raced on a 44-foot Swan would be the biggest. But I spent a good amount of time once a week after work in on the Hudson River racing 26-footers, these 26-foot boats called Colgate 26s, invented by the Colgate, one of the guys who was of the Colgate toothpaste family descents. But I did a lot of that, and growing up, man, catamarans.
Yeah, I've never had a good experience on a catamaran.
Apparently, neither is Stacy. That's why I don't own one anymore.
No, I remember being seasick and completely disgusted on my honeymoon.
You've got motion issues, though.
I do.
So I don't have that.
Yeah,
I don't have. I mean, that stuff does not bother me to the point where. Quick segue. A couple years ago, our anniversary, I thought it would be a very romantic day to take the day off, go out on a charter boat, do some fishing.
I remember this.
Catch, spend the whole day together, have lunch out on the water, catch some fish, then take those fish home and make a nice dinner, nice, relaxing, complete kind of planned out day. Well, it got rough. And, Stacy being no stranger to boats, they were like, 8 to 10, yada yada. We'll refund you, and we're looking at each other, going 8 to 10. You know, I mean, those are big ways, but whatever, we'll be fine. It'll be even better because not that many people will be on the damn boat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and well, she got sick, and I caught a few fish, but because it was so rough, the fishing was kind of tough. And I think 8 to 10 turned into 10 to 12, which is fine for me. I was just on the rail of the boat fishing all day. Like I could have been in that for hours. Does not bother
So what kind
me.
of lunch are you having out there on this boat?
Well, the plan was to have some sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Yeah, we just packed up some, we got
romantic
some Wawa
boatside
hoagies and
picnic.
Yeah, that didn't.
You didn't even make them. You bought Wawa.
Come on, man. We're in Jersey. It's what you do. What are you talking about?
Well,
we could talk about planning stuff later.
Was that the last time you planned a romantic getaway? No good deed goes unpunished, my friend. That's why you're better off just not doing it.
Oh my God, I'm telling you.
It's easier to get yelled at for not being romantic than to go make your wife sick and then have to hear about that forever.
I cooked some great fish that night. That was awesome.
Could she eat it? Was she over?
Yeah, she was better by then. She was better by then.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
List continues.
Great story. All right. So one of mine is like, it's kind of weird because I've already been there, but I want to go back. I want to go back and take Carolyn back to where we lived for a short period of time in Germany. When I was a child. My dad being military, he was stationed over there for a few years in the early 80s, and my memories of it are awesome. Like I have great memories of it. It was a cool experience as a child, and it was a beautiful place, and it was a nice place to live, and I want to go back there and see it as an adult through adult eyes. And they had, again, it being Germany, a lot like the whole Bavarian thing we talked about. They have all these little tiny small towns. We lived in Gelnhausen and Wechtersbach, and I'd love to go back and see what that looks like today. And then obviously experience a little bit of Germany while we're there, outside of that area or whatever. But just going back there, I remember doing the Volksmarches and different things for schools and for school, and being on those cobblestone roadways and these tiny, ancient, they're old. These are old towns. This goes back to, the days of
I hope they're
kings
still that way.
Yeah. I don't even know. I have no idea. I know I wanted to go see, and for a long time, that part of it was wanting to go see the military, the army base that was there. It was called Coleman Concern. I wanted to go do that, but that closed down. That wrapped up. Like they shut that down. So I don't even know if that's something you could even, go get on. I don't know what the story with that is, but just going back there and kind of taking the wife, Carolyn, and
got him
experiencing that like as an adult and just kind of reminiscing and being there present in that, and just kind of remembering being there with, my sisters, because, honestly back then, like, it was just like me and my sisters, like you're kind of out of away from your element as far as being in the United States and stuff. And it's like kind of as a family, you close ranks, and, you spend a lot of time together and just spend a lot of time with my sister. We used to go, there was a swimbad, which was the pool, which was like basically like a local pool, public local pool that you could pay to get into. And in the summers there, we rode our bikes to it. I don't even remember. Like for me, it felt like we rode for miles to go there.
It's probably 3 blocks.
It was probably not that far, but it wasn't blocks like that. Like it was like, it probably wasn't that far, but we spent like every day down there. We would go down, we would ride down together. We'd get in, we'd spend the day swimming, playing like actual foosball. Like everyone knows what foosball is, but they had that there, buying stuff from the snack stand, and just, we were there all day. That's kind of, our mom was like, go, and just, because back then the parents were like, go, just
get out of the house, kids.
We were gone from almost sun up until, sundown. But yeah, that's something I've wanted to do for a while. I don't know if I'll ever get to do it, but definitely up there on my list of things to experience. And just because I have such fond memories that I want to go back and see if it like is cool looking as I remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it would be neat to I had the opportunity to go to Germany with my last job a couple of years ago, but I quit. So
I think Germany's. I know I have a bunch of friends who like. I have a one friend, my old boss Tony. He loves Germany. He spent a bunch of time there working before doing the job that I knew him from. But like, he spent a lot. He loves it. He went back recently with him and his wife and visited and just loves it. It's a nice place.
Yeah, it's a cool country.
Yeah, lots of scenery.
Again,
Black Forest,
that whole like that mountain vibe, a lot of it, and yeah,
really pretty. Go get a cuckoo clock from the Black Forest.
I think I might. Expensive. So long story, but I do have a cuckoo clock downstairs from Stacy's grandmother that is from Germany.
Yeah,
and yeah, it is like one of those hand carved cuckoo clocks. We have to get it repaired, but it's very cool.
Okay.
All right. So next, to know me is to know that I love food, motorcycles, and trains. And speaking of food, this is my liquid dinner, and I need to grab some real bourbon real quick.
Go for it.
Because this stuff is...
So, it's not just train related, but when in Europe as a kid, we did a little like vacation, like bus tour. My dad had arranged, and we did this bus tour that went like from Germany, where we were at, to Amsterdam and to Paris. I think that was Amsterdam and Paris. And somewhere in Amsterdam, there's like a miniature world.
Oh,
and I don't know if it's still there.
Like a small world.
So it's like a theme park kind of thing, but you go to it and like everything is in like miniature train size, like cities, airports, trains, like all like just a whole world, and it's all miniature sized. And it had the trains are moving, the airplanes would like move down the runway, like just everything's moving. Like you remember when we went to Epcot and you had that one little tiny section where there was like a train and stuff, but like picture like I don't know, it felt like several acres of that. I could be imagining it, but it was like a big facility, theme park kind of thing, and it was really dope. If that's still there, that would be worth seeing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, trains are a big part of European culture. It was a mainstay of their transportation, how they got around that continent for a very, very long time. And the other thing people don't necessarily realize about Europe is usually their homes are kind of small. And I mean, not only do I have the trains that I have set up, but I have a lot of stuff that I have collected. And these trains, they're called garden scale trains. They're LGB. They're actually made to be set up outside, like in the yard. And that's how a lot of people in Germany would set up these larger layouts. They would just set them up on the grass in their backyard, and that's how they would set up their trains. So it's kind of a cool, like, similar thing, much bigger than the trains we think of here.
So what was your bucket list? My
next list is to nothing to do with European trains, but to cross the continent by rail. It's much more expensive than you might think.
No, I believe it.
Holy cow! Are
we talking like Amtrak?
Well, Amtrak has a number of, so it would be on Amtrak, because if you're going to do it, you're going to be on Amtrak. But there's a number of different plush levels to do that on. And, if I'm going to do it, I want to enjoy it. And I want to have, I want the full Amtrak experience with the dining and all that they still do while they still do it. I feel like it's a dying thing. And being somebody who flies a lot, I feel like if Amtrak embraced the customer service of that thing, airlines are not into customer service these days. It is the rare occasion that I have a crew, and I say that rare occasion because I did just have one from Chicago to Providence. The crew and the stewardesses were, just amazing. But it's a rare occasion that happens, and I envision a train trip being, more customer service oriented. And plus, you're riding through, the scenery, and they do wrap through the Rockies. They, stop in a lot of major cities, and you can have layovers. And I would,
it's travel, but it's more of an experience.
It is more of an experience.
Flying is just get from point A to point B.
It used to be an experience, but it's not an experience anymore. It's just get me there safely.
Back when we were all amazed that we were flying, it might have been an
I know.
experience, but now it's just get there, please take off and land safely.
And it's like I can't even drink. I don't even drink on all the flights anymore because I'd be banged up all the time. I'm flying so much. Like I'd be. So it's like just just give me my Diet Coke and my pretzels and leave me alone.
Sad to see where it's come with that too, like what they used to serve on give you on these flights, and now it's like a really pathetic little bag of pretzels and Pepsi or something. Like,
and let me tell you, I've got some elite status, so I have had a handful of first class meals, and they're okay. They're okay. They're not
okay.
They're right, exactly. They are okay.
So the cost of first class and first class foods, and the food is okay.
Yeah, that's if you get food. You seem to never know whether or not you're getting it.
I feel like the continental or whatever you call that. If you don't leave the country, I feel like you don't really get much.
Yeah.
Like I've done the overseas stuff, and you do get a whole meal or whatever. It's still like tiny and kind of pathetic, but you get the whole meal served, and then a couple hours later you get the snack or whatever because it's so much longer of a flight that you're getting when you're crossing the pond. But train ride, huh?
Train ride, man.
Yeah, I mean, I could see. I know I've seen those ones, like the ones out in Colorado, like those sightseeing train rides.
There's a handful of those.
Love to do one of those.
It was very expensive, man.
Of course.
There was a train called the American Orient Express that used to run through the Rockies and all that, and I think a 10-day on that was like $2,000 a person, $2,500 a person.
It's not terrible.
So, well, it's not. You're right. It's probably going to be about an $8,000 vacation, which I guess these days isn't terrible. But
yeah,
when you think about you need to get airfare there and back, you're going to need a hotel on the front end. You're going to need a hotel on the back end, and you start adding that stuff up, and it tacks up pretty quickly. But yeah, across the country by rail, I think it would be an amazing experience, and I think it would. Just like driving, just like a motorcycle, it's another way to experience the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool way to do it.
Yeah.
John Madden would appreciate it.
He would, man. I would enjoy a nice turducken if I was
Never had one, but I would certainly like to try one. If you feel like making a turducken this year, I'm in.
I'm telling you, I love the turducken. And I got to tell you, every time you say John Madden, what's your, what's your first thing that comes to mind when you say John Madden? What comes to mind?
The first thing that comes to mind with him is bus for me,
All right.
just because of this whole thing about how he refused to fly and he traveled. And this is going, after his coaching days, but when he was actually working for, for the TV station, doing the Monday night games or whatever, just he went from city to city for these games
on the
Madden Cruiser because he was refused to fly. But
right.
I mean, there's other things, the Thanksgiving Day games and the turducken, and I mean, who doesn't think of the the teleprompter with him? He was like the first one to start like circling and writing on the screen.
Two things that come to mind for me. One is boom.
Yeah.
Like whenever it was so iconic of us growing up that when I still see a guy get hit, it's like boom. I always think about that. And he coined the phrase decleater.
Yeah.
That was.
What's so cool about him for me as a guy that played offensive line, as a child and into my college days was that he loved talking about and highlighting the O-line play.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what it was so much. I'm just listening to him. I mean, I didn't even like the team. But listening to him talk about Larry Allen and highlighting the things that he did on the field. Like you don't really get really the only time you ever hear anybody ever want to talk about O-linemen is when they had a penalty for holding or a false start. Like nobody wants to talk about him, but he used to just highlight. He loved talking about O-line play. He loved showing you a diagram and the X's and O's and the blocking schemes and stuff on his little teleprompter, and just talking about the big fat uglies, and just he loved it, and it was really cool. I remember because it was like in the days of when I was still playing, so it was cool to see someone actually want to talk about it.
I missed the drawing in the teleprompter.
Yeah, it's just. There's no good broadcast teams like there used to be. Some were all and bad, and that was amazing. Yeah. Sad to say, it's just not the same.
No, it is not.
All right. Well, so you wanted to go across the U.S. in a train. So here's one that's been on my list since I've learned about it, and I feel like it just like showed up on in an email or something at some point like 15 years ago or whatever, and that is the European Viking River cruises.
You will be the youngest person on it.
I'm sure I will.
But I think it would be awesome.
And you know why? Because they're expensive.
They are not cheap, man.
They're expensive. But so there's one, and it's one, like when I found out about it, went to the website. I'm like, oh, this would be really cool. Me and Carolyn should do this. This would be awesome. We'd love this. She would love it. And I went in there and started like playing with like what trips they have, because they have like specific trips. And the one on the Rhine that goes from like Amsterdam to Budapest, to me, looks freaking awesome. You start out like in Amsterdam, you hit a couple spots in the Netherlands, and then you move into a bunch of different spots that you hit along the river in Germany, like Cologne and some other spots, and you go through Austria, and you end up you finish in like Budapest, Hungary, right? And it just looked amazing. And it's like a 12 days or something like that. Maybe it was even longer, but just to experience that part of the country on that kind of a thing, where like it's so like hands off for you as far as like what you have to do. You just chill. It's like taking a cruise. You just wind up where you want to go, and you don't have to do anything. There's no driving. There's no getting to the airports. All that stuff. Like it just cruises you down. They stop at the places they want to stop. You get off. You look around. You see the scenes. You see the history. You get back on. You go to the next one, and that part of the country too, being just so beautiful, and experiencing some of those, like the Rhine River. Like it's so, what I mean? Like I don't know. It just seems so far-fetched being someone from America, like you hear about it, but doing that would be really cool. It is super expensive. So that trip that I said that I looked it up today when we were, because I knew we were doing this, and doing that particular trip from Amsterdam to Budapest, it's $6,000 a person.
So
$6,000, and that's not airfare to get from the United States over to Amsterdam. So
you're $6,000 in airfare. Probably right now between $4,000 and $6,000 in airfare. And
from 4 and 6 for one person to go from here
for both of you. It's going to probably it's probably between.
Well, that $6,000 was per person, so that's $12,000.
Yeah,
for her and I to go, plus the airfare,
plus probably $4,000 to $6,000 a person. I mean,
that's
airfare might be cheaper, but
almost a $20,000 vacation.
Yeah,
if not, would be by the time you think about you're spending money and stuff. When you're off the boat and whatever, like. But those boats look so cool.
They do. They're all windows, and you can see everything as you're going down. That would be really cool.
It's like super low key cruise, like not like getting out in the ocean and stuff.
It's not a buffet cruise though. Those Europeans, they don't do the buffet cruises, man.
They're not fat Americans.
They do the sit down dinner. They're going on those cruises. So it's like when you say it's like going to be that for a cruise. I mean, the one I looked at, I mean that was like that many days of fine dining too. So when you start to think about, like, if you went out to how many days, like 10 days of,
it was at least 10. The one I looked at, it might have been a 14-day trip. That one that it was what they call it.
Start thinking about what 10 days of $100 person.
It was
dinner
the Grand European Tour, so I think it was almost like a 14-day thing, kind of, because you're going all the way from Amsterdam to Budapest, and there was a lot of stuff. There was like at least 10 stops.
I would do that.
So it's a legit, there's a lot to it, but man, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, man.
Like, who has $20,000 to drop on a vacation? I mean, I know there's plenty of people that do, but I don't. So that's one of those bucket list ones. It's kind of like, it's really like a fantasy, because I don't know even, if I had the ability to do it like time wise and stuff like that. I don't know that I'll ever have that chunk of cash to put down and do on that.
Well, it's one of those things, if you, I tell everybody, if you want to do something bad enough, start putting,
maybe when I'm of that age to where I'd fit in with everybody, I'd have the money to do it.
That's right. Start putting $25 a check in a jar, and, in 10 or 12 years, see what you've got. And, you might have that.
I will see a motorcycle part long before that and be like, I do got this money in a jar. I just use that.
Oh, look at that CVO. I do have this money in a jar. That's great.
But man, if you haven't seen those, man, go to go Google, Viking River Cruise, and go to their website and check that out, man. Holy cow. And the funny thing is, man, I actually have a buddy who is a travel agent.
Okay.
And I mean, he might never hear this, but if I can just hear him, he's like, bro, call me. I'll take care of it. And I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, you could book it for me, but unless you plan on paying for it too, I mean, we're not talking about this for a while.
You and I have different definitions of what I'll take care of it means.
Yeah, definitely. Good dude. He's got us hooked up on this cruise we got coming up here in Thanksgiving time frame.
Coming up quick.
November. Yeah, it's less than 60 days away. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Something I never thought I would be interested in, a cruise.
Yeah, well,
I've only done one, and it was kind of had to, because it was a good friend's wedding cruise, destination wedding, which, you destination wedding people killing me. But did it in 2017. We kind of did it because obviously because it was my friend and it was a wedding, but it was it tackled two things at once, because it was over our anniversary.
Yeah.
So it was like we could celebrate our anniversary and be there for their wedding. So we did it, and I was worried because, like we talked about earlier, I get motion sick. Not good with motion sickness. I can get motion sick playing some video games. If that's how motion sick sensitive I am. So I was worried about it, but it wasn't bad. Put the patch behind the ear, wear the wristband, take the freaking Dramamine, all of it, just do it all. And there was one evening where it was a little bit, but not bad, and that was going to Bermuda. So
I've been to Bermuda twice on cruises.
Yeah.
Been there twice on cruises, and the last cruise was like all kinds of family. It was like Stacy's family. It was Joel and Justin, the Applegates, their parents, my uncle. Like, it was a crowd of people we put together. And we sailed out of New York, and we were coming out of Bermuda. We were outrunning a tropical storm. And they had decks closed. It got so rough. The water was out of the pool. And, like, my old man and me, like, we were, we had sea legs. We were on this, like, upper deck outside, and we were on this cruise ship, and we were just watching the waves, like, breaking over the bow. Like, it was legit rough.
Yeah, I'm not interested in seeing that.
And
I do think cruises though are the ultimate group vacation type of thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're mostly stuck on a boat. Like, you got to entertain. There's plenty of entertainment, and obviously you could libations.
You could be together. You could go to dinner together. You could be separate.
It's a fun group activity to just kind of cut loose and party. Like, it's a good party atmosphere. They give you all the stuff you need to party. So we had a blast. It was a cool group of people on that, and like a lot of people I worked with that I liked. So it was a freaking amazing time. But this one coming up, we're going with friends as well. So hopefully it'll be
a good time.
Hopefully it's a good time.
And you're going to some cool spots too. You're not just going to Bermuda. Not that there's anything wrong going to Bermuda. If you've never been to the island of Bermuda, the best way to see it is via cruise ship, because it is so damn expensive to stay there.
Yeah.
But you're going to some different places this time. You're hitting up Tortola, one of my favorite islands.
Puerto Plata.
Yep.
Tortola. St. Thomas, maybe.
St. Thomas. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like 5 in all. I don't remember them all, but it looks like it's going to be a good time.
USVI.
Oh, one of the
BVI.
One of those. What do they call it? K something K.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever Norwegian's island is that they own.
Oh yeah, they have their own private island.
Their own.
Yep.
Like Disney has the Castaway K, and they have something else. Whatever. But looking forward to drinking a lot of drinks. Drinking drinks all day. Mm-hmm. Going in the pool, sightseeing. Some great dining, and the ship that I'm on has a craft brew house.
What?
So they're not a brewery, but they have like 40
craft
beers on tap.
Right,
which, how do you beat that?
That's probably a good thing, because if they're brewery, worried about sucking. But
yeah, you get one of those breweries that doesn't. They have all kinds of cool. Yeah, really good. I'm excited. Anywho, what else you got?
Next one. Speaking of drinking, I switched to this Woodford Double Oak, which, if you know, you know.
It's a good one.
The Double Oak is good stuff. Is Ireland, man. I need to get back to where the family immigrated from. And I know there's still an estate that I need to get the address of. Why the people who know that information are still alive, because they're old. But It's there's an estate. There's the family history is very very deep in Ireland, and kind of how we wound up in this country. So I know the.
So which not to cut you off, but I'm going to cut you off. Which side of your family has the Irish side?
My mom.
Okay.
Yeah, just about all Irish.
So it's a Giacono.
The Giacono was my father was like Italian and muddish, so like Italian. Muddish, like a mutt. Yeah, so like Italian. He was Italian, a little bit of German, a little bit of mixed up European. But mom's side is pretty Irish.
I've had a few friends go to Ireland. Loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
My buddy Jimmy Meehan, who is obviously
pretty damn Irish.
Very Irish. He went. I forget what he went for. I feel like it was a family thing. I almost feel like there was a wedding, but maybe it wasn't. I could be imagining it. But he loved it. He had a blast. Yeah,
a lot of cool things about Ireland. A name like Meehan, he is actually really Irish.
Yeah.
Because when you look at Ireland, like the Irish family name is McDonald, which
like old McDonald.
You're like old. Well, so here's the funny thing.
That's old.
It was old MacDonald, MAC, and when you're Irish, you're McDonald, MC. This is why they called Irish. The Irish have earned the name of mix, because they took from their Scottish descendants, and they dropped the A. So, in theory, if you trace this back far enough, my lineage is going to head to Scotland, where it was a MacDonald, but now it's in Ireland. It was a McDonald, and
gotcha.
That side of the family is huge. I am, 6 degrees of separation, far distant cousins with
a leprechaun,
Rich Gannon, the quarterback, and that guy. So also an Irish guy, but
Gannon, an Irish name.
Yeah, Gannon is it? Yes, Gannon's Irish. So it's it's where the family came from. It's where they immigrated from. There's a lot of history over there. I've read a lot about the history of Ireland, kind of like growing up and getting it from my grandmother and some of the relatives that were here. When Stacy and I first started living together, we had the last off the boat, probably in 2002. My last, what they call off the boat relative, passed away.
Okay.
And so the family has got lineage kind of like back to the early, probably 1910, 1909-ish. That's when they came here.
What was that Sean Connery movie with the leprechauns?
I have no idea.
No,
I don't remember a Sean Connery movie with the leprechauns. You to think I bring up some pointless movies. That's a winner right there.
Well, it took place in Ireland, so I was like, I gotta find it now.
Oh man, so it's cool stuff. A lot of culture. It's it's funny in this country we do not embrace nationalism, and a country like Ireland really really embraces nationalism, and they're have gone back in this last generation to bringing back Gaelic. And when you get into Galway and that part of Ireland, like even all the street signs have like gone over to Gaelic, so which is a very very ancient language.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see that they're kind of bringing that back so that it doesn't die off and everybody's speaking English.
Darby O'Gill and the Little People, for all our older listeners. I remember watching that as a kid, man.
One of Sean's first.
No, probably wasn't one of his first. I think he was already like a big name at that point.
Favorite Sean Connery line? You have one?
Line?
Yeah.
Probably not.
No?
Not off the top of my head. Like, I'm not that huge of a... I mean, I like him, but I'm not like... What, do you have one?
Listen, Jack.
That's it? Listen, Jack?
Some things in here don't react very well to bullets.
Was that in...
Hunt for the Red October.
Oh, okay. Good movie.
Great movie.
I took Carolyn to that movie.
Yeah,
I think I thought it was a date. I don't think it was a date. I think she was like, we're friends. I was in the friend zone, but I was like, oh, this is a date. This is awesome. We'll watch this Sean Connery movie. But yeah, in Wrightstown.
There you go.
Back in the James Way days.
There you go.
Romeo's Pizza over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's going back.
Let's go back. Used to go there to buy our shoes when we went back to school. It was like
Jamesway?
The Payless. There was like a Payless shoe store right there, and then we'd go to Jamesway. And I remember my mom would put all of our school clothes on layaway.
Jamesway was my spot to buy G.I. Joes.
Yeah, layaway was the way to pay.
Layaway was the jam back in the day, man. They even have that anymore?
I don't think they have credit cards now.
Yeah, that's true. Like, just get a credit card, loser.
That's it. Layaway.
All right, so if I could have stopped you earlier, Rich Gannon's a pretty good segue into my next one.
Every football stadium.
Every football stadium, as a diehard football fan, obviously Steelers fan, but pure football fan. I can watch any football game. You know, I love football. I love watching football. I would love to make it to every NFL stadium. Unfortunately, there were some that don't exist anymore. That would have been cool to get to, but some of the good ones. I mean, there are still the great ones: the Lambos, the Soldier Fields. You know, those are awesome. And then more recent structures like Jerry's World and that monstrosity they have out in L.A. Like, I don't even know
Vegas.
The stadiums back in the day used to have cool names, right? You still have like Lambeau Field and Soldier Field, and you had the Coliseum out in L.A.
Yep.
Now they're all named some three initial giant mega corporation thing. So I don't even know what they're all called, but I would love to make it to every stadium. And I mean I have a long way to go because I've only been to a handful. But that's something that kind of ties in, and I even told Carolyn this before, like now that we have the RV, if we're going to travel more, if we do some stuff in the fall, we should try to make it a point to incorporate some of these stadiums that are away that I'd never been to and won't get to, like try to incorporate those into our vacation. So I don't know if that's going to happen. She's not the hugest football fan in the world, but
as much as I hate the Chiefs, I think Arrowhead would be cool.
Arrowhead would be really cool. Arrowhead would be really cool. And then like to experience the tailgating in some of these different places, because I know Lambeau and I know Arrowhead, they have an amazing tradition of their tailgating. You know, it would be really cool to be able to do, because typically, other than a handful of places, like the fans are really welcoming to even the opponent, fan base that comes in there. You know what I mean? If you're not a tool and you're not like just rolling in talking trash, they're usually pretty welcoming and excited to like kind of show you their traditions and stuff that they do with the brats and stuff in Lambeau, and you got a lot of barbecue and stuff at Arrowhead and stuff. Like it would be amazing to go hang with just these complete random strangers that have an amazing tailgate setup spread, like something, because we know even in Philly here, like you have a lot of people that
listen
the
cheesesteaks,
but not even just the cheesesteaks, but just the people that are they go every week, the season ticket holder types that go every week. They have a system, they have a thing, they have a tradition. It's week in and week out. They roll in there at a certain time. It's like they go with a group of people. They all have a job. Like they get in there, they roll into the parking lot, and boom, 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 everybody starts doing their thing. And next thing you know, they're set up and they got this massive spread going on with grills and food and tables and drinks and coolers and kegerators and like RVs with like it's just
it's insane.
It's just like it's a well-oiled machine for a lot of these tailgaters. They take it serious, and I think that would be so cool to experience that around the country. Even out in San Fran's got a really cool stadium. I don't know if they still call it Levi Stadium or not. It might be some other name now. Like again, like it's hard to keep up with the names because those naming rights change now so frequently.
I remember when it was Candlestick.
Yeah, I mean they had cool names back. Like when we originally started watching football at our age, the names were cool, and you had Three Rivers and you had Candlestick, and you had just like they all had like a cool name.
The Vet.
And the Vet. They weren't like really names. They weren't back then. The names weren't for making money.
No.
But now they've monetized that name, and now it's just gone to NRG and BLP and Poo-Poo-P and like it's all these stupid initials, and I can't even keep up. I don't know what they are. Like what's so is MetLife, is that what's up in
it's
the Meadowlands?
It's MetLife Stadium.
It's MetLife.
But people still call it the Meadowlands. It is
it's
what
in
it
the
is.
Meadowlands.
I'm grateful that with Lincoln Financial for the Eagles, that it's at least got a name. It's the Link. I feel like even calling it the Link is just better than calling it Lincoln Financial.
Having a nickname for whatever the long stupid name is always cool. Three Rivers was awesome, and that's when I started
Yeah.
being a huge fan. Then I went to Heinz, and that was cool because Heinz
Has a
ketchup
history-
has a history in the
Pittsburgh.
city. It's a
Yeah.
huge part of that city, and that was cool. And they had a giant ketchup bottle in the end zone that poured like when they scored touchdowns, and you saw the red flow and blah blah blah. But now even that ran its course,
What is it now?
and they didn't want to pay, so they had a new contract with Acrisure, which is like some financial institution that's not even from Pittsburgh. But apparently they paid the most, so you know how it is now. It's all about dollars now, and there's nothing else really matters. So
Yeah.
I don't that's why I really appreciate like Lambeau,
Sun Devil
Soldier,
Stadium.
because the name is cool and it has a meaning to it, and it's not just because some big corporation.
Yeah.
Anyway, way off topic of
But it's a cool. That's a
bucket
cool,
list,
it's,
but
it's
really
a cool
cool
bucket list option.
I
Man.
know I have a couple diehard baseball fan friends who they have that same thing for baseball
I
stadiums.
feel like that's way more. Maybe it's not.
I don't think so.
No, I don't know.
I don't know. They might be less.
Are there?
Is there 32 baseball MLB teams?
Maybe. Yeah, something like that.
Let me Google it. I know there's 32 NFL, which is that's 32 stadiums. I think I've been to probably
Yeah, I feel like
4.
I feel like baseball is kind of held on to its stadium names a little bit more than football.
Have they? I
has.
don't even know. I don't watch enough.
The Yankee Stadium is still Yankee Stadium. The Baltimore is
That officially what Yankee Stadium's called?
yeah, as far as I know, it's still Yankee Stadium. But, I mean, I'll never call it Yankee Stadium because it's the new Yankee Stadium, and it was never the
30.
same.
There's more football.
There's more football.
30
teams.
MLB teams, 32 NFL.
And not only are there more football teams, but football tickets are going to be more expensive. So
Oh.
there you go.
That's the other kick in the nards.
There you go.
Not only, 32 of them. Like I said, I think I might have been to 4, so I got 28. I got to go to. If you're cheapest ticket you're getting is like $150. So $300 for her and I to go. That's not parking. That's
Well, listen. Let's be honest. But if you're going to do something like that, and depending on like how you're going to do it, you're going to find a campground that's close. If you're going to do it that way,
Oh, yeah.
and you're just going to Uber in. I feel like or I mean, I guess you could just you don't need to take your whole rig in. You would just drive in with the truck, I guess. But
Ubering's not a bad idea because you can avoid that. Avoid that park because parking's.
Well, 'cause listen,
the best case you're getting is $25 for parking,
$25-$30 for parking.
and that's on the low end.
And
There's
then-
a lot more expensive.
Right, and you just need to find an Uber when you get out of there, which probably could be a bit of a pain in the ass. But at least you could.
They're all
at least you
in
could drink.
They're all in busy areas. It's not like you're in a stadium that's in. I mean, the most podunk one you're going to have is Lambeau in in Green Bay, and that's still not. You're going to have Ubers. I mean, I would think.
So,
All right,
that's
you
a good one.
You got any other ones, or is that it?
I actually have two more.
Let them rip because I didn't really. That's as much as I wrote down.
I have two more, and one. This is cool. I want to go obviously to Iceland. I've wanted to go to Iceland for a long time, but one of the things I want to do, and I could do this probably from any number of places, is I want to see the Northern Lights, like really good Northern Lights.
Where would you need to go to see that?
You could see them from a lot of like the northern countries. I mean, you could see them from Alaska.
Do you see them in Iceland?
You can see them in
So then
Iceland.
just knock out 2 and 1.
That's right.
Bang.
I mean, I know like they say one of the most amazing places to see them from is Greenland, but who the hell wants to go to Greenland? And another amazing place to see them is like Norway, and Norway would be pretty cool. I really think Norway, but I've wanted to go to Iceland. I think the 2 birds at one stone. And Iceland, man, Iceland is on the list. Like I'm getting to Iceland one way or another.
My brother-in-law and sister-in-law went to Iceland.
Just went, yeah.
Well, a couple years ago, but the pictures looked amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I knew some other people that went too, but yeah, Iceland is pretty cool. It's a cool spot.
Yeah, it's
I like to go there on the Amazing Grace every now and then.
I feel like it's a really cool country. It's a very energy independent country.
Mm-hmm.
They're very they're isolated, and they really are forward thinking over there. So yeah, it's on the list.
All right.
All right.
Was that it?
And the last one is I want to get to Normandy. My grandfather was part of that. He was part of going through a lot of those towns that were there. It's something that definitely shaped his life. Definitely an idol of mine. So I would just kind of like to see some of the area. Obviously, I'd love to see the cemetery that's over there. See some of those beaches. See like Carentan and some of those smaller towns that were part of that, and I can't remember the name of it right now. It escapes me, but where the 101st took down the 88s, that were shelling the beach, and that there's a lot of like little tourist stuff over there. A YouTube buddy of ours did it, the military biker.
Yes, he did.
And he put up some. It was actually the trip that I feel like changed his channel. From Scouse Adventures to the military biker. He changed the name of it, and I feel like that was a trip that had a big part of that.
Yeah.
But it really, really cool stuff. Huge part of American history. Huge part of world history. Biggest amphibious invasion ever to take place, and probably will never be anything an amphibious invasion larger than that. Yeah, that was just insane.
So funny that you brought that up, because I did not write that down, but I did as I was riding over here on the bike. I was thinking about like if I don't have enough, and if you did more, and Normandy, and just one of those tours of all the battle sites for that opening week or whatever of World War II was something I was like, oh, that would be cool, and I kind of like had that in the back of my mind, and then I forgot about it when I got here. So you bringing it up, that's pretty funny, because I would definitely do that. We could definitely do that trip with the four of us, because I would be down with that. That would be really cool, seeing Normandy and all that stuff, and kind of, I mean, I think there's, because of that show, I think there was an actual tour thing that came about that was kind of like the tour of that band of brothers, like that route that they took in their job there, that in that TV show, like that would be really cool to see.
Yeah. A Band of Brothers was just
amazing show, one of my favorites.
Probably they say The Longest Day was like one of the greatest war movies out there. And I feel like I haven't seen The Longest Day in decades. Like I remember in a long time, right? But it
was a good movie though.
And obviously one of my favorite. I mean, I love Memphis Belle, but I feel like one of my favorite war movies is Kelly's Heroes.
Oh God, who doesn't love Kelly?
I know.
I wore that VHS tape.
Positive thoughts, man. So there's all-star cast.
2 war movies I wore out on VHS tape as a kid: Kelly's Heroes and Dirty Dozen.
The Dirty Dozen, yeah.
Wore those tapes out.
Kelly's Heroes
Love
was
those
great,
movies.
man.
Positive vibes.
Yes.
Good old Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland
is great.
I feel like it was like Donald's finest hour.
It was. He was young.
He was young, man. It was just Don Knotts. I mean, that cast, Clint Eastwood. I mean, that cast was so
Telly Savalas.
Telly Savalas, yep. Man, it was just like...
Ironically, he was in both of those movies.
Yeah. And, but when Band of Brothers came out, Band of Brothers just kind of changed the game. Well, I feel like Saving Private Ryan changed the game for war movies. I feel like the D-Day scene... that
was intense.
It was,
Saving Private Ryan and the D-Day scene was
it was intense. I feel like the one thing that there was a lot of things for cinema that they did with that movie, and not to go like way down the rabbit hole with it. But
sorry, it's a podcast. We can talk about whatever we want.
They, those bunkers that they showed on Saving Private Ryan, the bunkers they were much bigger and like made for effect than the actual bunkers were, on D-Day, and it was there were some things. It was actually filmed. It was filmed in Ireland, I think. It was filmed on the cliffs in Ireland. It was not filmed in Normandy. They didn't let them film there.
Believe it.
But yeah. But there were definitely a lot of things. I feel like when it came to, and while that movie was obviously iconic and amazing, when it came to war movies, I feel like Tom Hanks and these guys got together with Band of Brothers, and they, from experience, did things very differently. The realism in how things were done in Band of Brothers was pretty good.
It was legit. Love that show.
All of the things were like shortened up in the movie. If you actually read the history about what some of those battles were, You know, some of those battles in Band of Brothers kind of like took not that long in the film, but lasted like all day.
Yeah, much longer. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, you're making
yeah.
TV. You gotta condense stuff.
Yep.
Makes sense.
So yeah, man.
I mean, great list.
It's the bucket list.
I mean, you could probably. I mean, if you really wanted to sit down and think about it, I'm sure we can come up with a lot more.
Yeah.
But those are definitely top, and that's a good list. And I mean, golly, if you just accomplished the stuff on these two lists in your lifetime, that'd be pretty dope life.
I mean, a lot of it's travel for me. I mean, it's I said when I said in the beginning, there's a theme, and there is a theme. I mean, it's a lot of places that I want to see.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that like when Stacy and I went back and like looked at, you know, the bucket list we had that I completely even forgot about, that there were things that we knocked off. So, I mean, that's good. I mean, you're only on this side of the grass for so long is what I tell people.
Yeah. Visiting all 50 states is a good one, man. I'm on board with that. I would love to, you know, add that to my list. That's a great one for sure.
Every football stadium, man. I didn't think about that. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, and depending on what, you know, if you're a sports fan, like what sport is your sport? Like it could be baseball, it could be hockey, it could be basketball, it could be football. Like it's just a cool thing if you're really into that sport. Like that's just a really cool achievement. And
I feel like it's a thing among, you know,
baseball is where I first heard about it. Like it's like a thing.
I feel like our buddy Jeremy Miller has done a lot of the baseball stadiums, if not all of them.
Maybe.
I feel like he has.
Ask him?
I will. And recently there was a couple at the link that the Eagles posted on their Instagram that the link was their final after I think 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, they did it in like 2 years.
Man, they banged it out.
They banged it out. It was like every weekend you're going someplace.
That would probably take me about 30 years to do the 28 that I have to do.
But yeah, I think it was maybe it was 3, but it was a short period of time. I was like, damn, that's a lot of football.
I mean, that's just like, this is what we're going to do. And they probably like every week of that season, like we're at some place.
But if you think about it, I mean, if you went to a Sunday game and there was a Monday night game, you could catch an evening flight out of that city and then be in the next city for the Monday night game.
Don't even have to always fly. Look at this week alone. I hate to bring this up, but the Kelsey brothers' mother.
Oh, yeah.
So she was at...
I hate to bring this up.
She was at Jason's game in Philly.
Yep.
Sunday during the day,
and then went up to the Meadowlands.
Then went up to the Meadowlands for the night game, which was Travis's game.
I thought the Jets were going to pull that off.
And of course, you know who was there, which NFL is oozing over about right now, which is making me about sick to my stomach hearing about it. I'm so tired of it. Not even going to say her name, but you guys probably know who we're talking about.
We could talk about that, but the NFL, what she doesn't even realize is the NFL is just using her to get more followers.
And they're doing it.
It's almost comical.
They said he got 845,000 new subscribers on Instagram since this whole thing came out. Almost 1 million new subscribers on Instagram because of this.
What I love is they're like, she put him on the map. I'm like, let's see. This guy is going to the Hall of Fame. He's got Super Bowl rings. He's one of the, love him or hate him, he's one of the best tight ends ever to play the game.
Yeah, she put him on a different map.
She didn't put him on the map.
She just put him on a different map, and one that if I was him, I'd be careful on because I don't know if I want to be on that Hollywood map.
You know
what I mean? I'd rather be the gold jacket wearing, multi Super Bowl winning.
Bronze bust map.
Possibly one of the best, if not the best tight end ever maps is what I'd rather be on. And then the dude that dated her, one of many, and will eventually just be a song because to me, this is just a project for her. She's going to end up with a song out of it. That's all it is.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll end up with a song and he'll
Guy-hating, man-hating, songwriting hoe bag.
And he'll just shake it off.
Shake it up. Oh, dear God.
On that note,
why you gotta be so loud?
Yeah. Oh, man. So
good topic, man. There's a lot of fun. I mean, these ones where you're talking about stuff like this where it's like fun, they fly by. We're already at like an hour and 20. Just kind of fun to think about. Obviously, I think everybody out there has, like we said in the beginning, some sort of list. Whether it's, they've really thought about it and wrote it down, or it's just thoughts in their head. Like they have them. Everybody's got one, everybody's got something they want to do. I'm curious to hear other people's
And listen, if you don't, you damn well should.
I mean, come on, man.
You
gotta dream a little bit, man. Even if it's stuff that you maybe will never legitimately get to do. Like, you gotta have goals. You gotta have things to strive for in life. Otherwise, what are you doing, man? You're just working to pay bills.
It's good for the soul to dream a little bit.
Yeah, gosh. And you know what's even better is when you actually do follow through and make one of those things come true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I think everybody needs to experience that at least once or twice in their life, just to feel like you're living.
Heck yeah, man.
You know, but I would love to hear. Hopefully, those of you watching this via YouTube will comment below, and we'll see your comments on this. Tell us what your bucket lists are. I'd love to hear other people's, because you know what, you might say something that I'm like putting that on mine, because you know what, I mean, I haven't thought of everything, and I'm sure there's things other people will say that I'm like, that's good. Like, I would love to do that too.
I'm stealing your bucket list idea.
I'm adding it, man. Why not? I mean, there is no rules to how long your bucket list can be. And like you said, you never know when you just knock something out unexpectedly, you know?
That's it.
And that's living, man. You gotta have dreams.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, again, comment down below. Let us know about your bucket list. If you're on, they can comment right on Apple and Spotify and all
Absolutely.
that stuff. Let us know, man. I'd love to hear them, and add your great ideas to my list.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
All right. Listen, thanks for listening to this episode of This American Ride podcast. And like I said, if you haven't, like Burt said, leave us a comment, give us a little ratings. Remember, 5 stars is best. We like that a lot. And if you're watching us on YouTube here on this little camera, you can give us a subscribe and hit the like, drop us a little comment there. And more importantly, tell your friends about us. Give this thing a share.
Yeah, shoot us an email, thisamericanride1776@gmail. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or cover, we'd be more than happy to do that, but you got to let us know what it is. thisamericanride1776@gmail. Looking forward to reading your email.
Oh, look at that, man. He's a poet and he didn't even know it. All right.
All right,
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
We'll catch you in the next one.
Later.
Bye.